Rob from the Tepee building team. We're about to strip down this Tepee that we put up for this open day. So we'll start by getting all the furniture out. We'll take off the fire pit, the bales, festoon lights around the outside, and I'll put it on video so you can watch us do it. So the first job that needed to be done was to remove all the bales and furniture from the Tepee. So we put the straw bales to one side, stacking them up neatly, and then we took apart the furniture. Our wooden tables and benches all have metal stays to stop the legs splaying out when anybody sits on them. These need to be taken apart and unbolted away before they can be lowered down. We then started taking down the festoon lights. The festoon lights were connected to the canvas by the D-rings. D-rings are where we peg the canvas to if we're putting it flat on against the ground. Each length of festoon lights was cable tied to the D-rings, and these cable ties had to be cut carefully in order not to cut the wires. Once the final piece of festoon lighting was taken away, wrapped up and put inside its box, it was time to start loading the furniture away. We started with the sofas, loading the sofas straight into the back of the van. For this open day, we had the Tepee dressed up as a chill-out tent. We had 3 sofas in it, 2 armchairs, a bioethanol fire pit, tables and benches, and some coffee tables. At purlin height, which is halfway up the Tepee, we had some artificial flower garlands decorating the purlins. These were white roses, just to give a bit of colour and a bit of character to the Tepee. These were also unpegged and taken down. And the spotlights were also taken down from the Tepee at the same time. At the front of the Tepee, to hold the carpet down, as we couldn't nail to the concrete floor, we put these rubber mats. So these are all pulled off and taken to one side. We then moved the fire pit out of the way and then began to pull the carpets up. Carpets are all velcroed together, so they're pulled up, velcro's all wrapped up, the carpets are all wrapped up to be taken back to the yard. If they're dirty, they can be power washed off to get them back to being clean as new, and then go out for the next job. Once the carpets were loaded up, we moved the van out of the way and brought the trailer into position. Took the ladders down so we get to the top of the Tepee. The next job was to take down the flower wheel and the wagon wheel chandelier. Now, this is on a self-locking pulley rope system, and the only way to take it down is to climb to the top of the pulley and climb to the top of the Tepee and free the rope from the pulley. We then lower it down carefully so we can undecorate. So we can take the artificial flower garlands off the flower hoop, put them to one side. Lower it down to take the Edison bulbs off the wagon wheel chandelier, along with the fake ivy. The flower hoop itself is then unshackled from the chains, and then we unshackle the wagon wheel from the chains as well afterwards, leaving just the rope and the pulley hanging from the Tepee. Flower hoop is taken apart where it's bolted together, so it's put into 2 half sections for easy transportation. Around each of the 9 Tepee poles, we have fairy lights wrapped around them. These are cable tied to stop them from coming loose, so they have to be cut off. While that's being done, the rubber mats are being stacked onto the back of the trailer, and the mirror ball in the foreground here has been lowered down to take that down. That is packed away and put in the van. The flower hoop itself is then taken. The flower hoop itself is then taken to one side out of the way, while the fairy lights themselves are taken down from the top of the Tepee. There's 9 for each pole, and they're connected to a central ring piece at the top of the crown. The smoke hood is also removed at this point and put away to be folded up to go in with the canvas bag. We then start lowering down the Tepee canvas itself by taking the lifter poles out. So we start at the back, working our way around to the front. We take out each of the 9 poles with a lifter beam on it, holding the canvas up. So we take out this back one here now, and we're left with a 3 down at the back, which makes a nice formation for blocking out wind on a summer day. And then we start taking down the ones on the sides until we're going to be left with just the 2 at the front in position. Okay, we then start taking down the support beams that hold it all together, that brace it all. We take these out, put them away. These will stop the canvas moving, because sometimes when it's the final lifter beams put in a witch's hat formation, the canvas can rotate on the teepee, twisting the beams. So this final beam is taken out, leaving just the canvas in place. The flower hoop in the foreground there has just been taken out of the way, so we can lower the canvas down so it does not become an obstruction. We then put out the canvas, the tarpaulin for the canvas to come down on. Tarpaulin helps keep the canvas clean. The ladders are put up, the purlin at the back is taken out, and then a man carries the bottom of the canvas up over the ladders and pulls it over the top of the crown piece and drops it down. Canvas is then pulled out, layered out. When working on the canvas, it's very important to keep it clean, so boots are removed, so if anybody does need to walk on it, they don't leave boot prints all over the canvas. Is then wrapped up and put in its bag along with a smoker that we took down earlier. Packed away and put on the back of the trailer. The tarpaulin is then wrapped up to keep that clean, as it's no longer needed, there's no more canvas to come down, and put away, leaving us just the poles up. Now, here we have the 9 poles up, 8 purlins in, we took one out to get the canvas down. Now normally, to lower it down, we take the poles down until we've got 4 left, leaving us with a quad pod, like how we put them up, and then we lower the quad pod down manually. However, in the barn, without having anything to peg to, and being given the luxury of that winch, we're going to winch the teepee down. However, the problem is the poles and the teepee crown are too far away from the winch. So first, we're going to have to move the teepee to the winch. Now, to do this, first off, we put that purlin back in, keep the structural integrity of the teepee together, stop the legs splaying out, and then it's just a matter of pure grunt work and pulling it along, making sure it wasn't catching anything, and pulling it into position underneath the winch. The ladders were then put back up, re-strapped, and the purlins will begin to taken out from around the teepee. Once the ladders were strapped at the bottom, and then strapped at the top, they were then connected to the winch, holding it all in place so we could lower it down. Now this leaves us with 9 poles up, so before we lower it down, we decided we're going to take down 3 of the poles off it. Those 3 poles at the top end, we're going to keep the purlins in to keep that from moving, same with these 2 at the back. Now in order to move them down, first thing we have to do is take the latching pole pin out from the top of the crown, and the locating pin out, then put the pole onto the nearest pole next to it and slide it down towards where the men at the bottom manoeuvre it into position. They then take it away, then load it straight onto the back of the trailer. So here we have, one man stands at the bottom, stopping it from sliding out away. The man on the ladders takes out the locating pin, then he will lift the pole and put it onto the pole adjacent to him, and then he'll slowly guide it down and slide it down in place. Working inside the barn, we have to be careful to stop the poles from sliding on the concrete floor. Also, to make sure we didn't hit the roof or the lights as we drag the poles down. At the very back on the far end, you can see the fire pit has been positioned against that back pole, just act as an extra brace, stop that legs from sliding out. And then it's connected to the winch to stop the poles from moving. So here we are, we're going to leave, this is going to be the final pole we're going to take down. Same principle, lower it onto the beam, slide it down, and the man at the bottom picks it up, and the two men take the TP pole out and put it straight back on the back of the trailer. So here we have, we've got 6 in place now. We've got the crown connected to the winch via that shackle system, holding it in place. So that's going to lower it down. And then we're going to put 3 men on the poles at the front there, and they're going to hold onto the poles by using that pin put through a hole at the bottom of the pole, and then with a strap around it. Their job will just be to guide it, letting the winch take the bulk of the weight as we lower it down. So here we are, begin to lower it down. So the 3 men are basically just guiding it into position while the winch lowers it. Comes down gradually and taking it steadily. We lowered the TP down to the ground. When we felt the TP was low enough, we went over to it, checked to make sure the strapping and the shackling was okay on the winch, and then got the step ladders positioned underneath the crown piece. The idea is to rest the crown on the step ladders using the winch so we can take the rest of the poles down. So it's lowered into position, and then the purlins are then removed so we can take away the poles. Purlins are then bundled up into a group of 9 and strapped together for easy transportation. So then we take the TP poles down, take the locating pins out one at a time and load them straight onto the back of the trailer. Take away all 9 poles, all 6 poles that are left. Load it up, bundled up into a group of 9 so we can forklift them on and off the other end. The shackle is then lowered down, lowering the crown down, disconnecting the crown, and there we have it, all loaded up and ready to go away. So that's the TP all gone and done. All taken down to the winch, and we're just going to load up now and go on to the next job.